So you want to start a walking YouTube channel? Let's talk about it.
Walks and wonders. Discover your world.
In this video I'm going to talk about starting a walking channel. I'm going to talk about YouTube, about equipment, about do's and don'ts, about tips. So I started making YouTube videos about 5 years ago, but I have to say I was making films with actual film when I was 17, so it's something I've been interested in a long time. In fact, here's one of my films. It is on the channel if you want to go and watch that. But yeah, back in the day when I was a teenager, I was fascinated by the process of film making. It's very different today, much more convenient. I used to have to send my film off, get that processed, so we don't have to do that. I've been interested in it a long time. I dabbled in it when I kind of worked for a charity, which is what I've done most of my life. When we were out in Africa, GoPros came out. I dabbled with filming a little bit out in Africa. Also had other cameras as well, not just a GoPro. But really, in a way, I kind of lost touch with the filmmaking idea until about 5 years, no, probably about 7 years ago now. I started thinking about getting back into filmmaking and brought some equipment. Starting a YouTube channel, I mean creating a YouTube channel, the channel itself is very, very simple. I mean, just literally sign up on your computer. You might even be able to sign up on your phone these days, who knows. Anyway, sign up at Google, and actually if you've got a Google email address, if you've got a Gmail address, you can use that. I think I'm right in saying you can use that just to sign into YouTube, and then technically you've got a YouTube channel. And people that just comment and don't make videos, you'll see that if you click on their comment and click on their name, it will take you to a channel page. It's just they haven't set the channel up fully. So it's very, very simple just to open a free account on YouTube and sign up. And anything you need to know, there's lots of help files there. What I'd have a think about is, what's your motive for starting a YouTube channel? I think it's quite important. For me, I was very clear, well, yeah, it's turned out to be something a little bit different than what I thought it would be, but my motive was clear in that I started the Walks and Wonders YouTube channel just for my own kind of mental well-being, really. I just wanted to do something that was nothing to do with work, where I was feeling quite burnt out, something I was interested in, which was filmmaking. And I only chose the Walks and Wonders thing just because I couldn't really think about what I'd make films about. But my family, my wife and I and the daughters and the grandson, we do quite a bit of walking, and we normally go for a couple of walks a week, and I thought I'd just film the walks with the family, not realising that not everyone wants to be on YouTube all the time. But that was the basis. So it was, for me, it was the process of making the films, editing the films, putting them together. And I thought it would perhaps just be me, possibly the family, although I didn't really think the family would be interested in it. But for me, it was more just that I could watch it, and I stored them on YouTube just so that we had some family memories as the years went by. However, because I started doing local walks, I got interested in local history, and I experimented with doing little sort of local history videos. It did quite quickly gain an audience, and now get over 1,000 subscribers. I think we might be up near 1,400 subscribers now. And that's fantastic. And the reason you may need to think about your motive is because some people start a YouTube channel to make money, because you can make money on YouTube. A walking channel is probably not going to make you that much money unless you really turn it into a business and get sponsorships and do all sorts of things that make money outside of YouTube as well as a YouTube channel. But as a rule, I would say that starting a YouTube channel to make money is possibly a bad idea, because you really want to focus on the creative side of things and just make good videos, and they may in turn lead to making money. So I have made a bit of money. I did make a video about how much money, or how little money I've made on YouTube. But also having a YouTube channel has led me to being paid to make a couple of films films that are on my YouTube channel. And so yeah, there's stuff outside YouTube that may earn you some income. And also if you can get into reviewing products on Amazon, and you know, if you were doing a walking channel, you could review walking gear and that sort of stuff. Yeah, there's a little bit of money to be made, but you really need to think about what it is, the reason, your motive for starting a YouTube channel. I have in the past had the feeling that my channel was sort of getting taken over, or there was the potential for the channel to get taken over and pulled in directions I didn't want it to go. And I have a little note on my phone that reminds me that Walks and Wanders, the YouTube channel, is for me and my well-being, and that just makes me wary of going too far down routes. I mean, I want to engage with people and connect with community, that's fine, but I don't want it taking over and dragging in a direction I don't intend it to go. So for me, it's more about the creativity, but you'll need to answer the question about what your motive is for starting a channel. YouTube is very different to making films, if you were making a film professionally, say. And you've also got to understand the platform. So if you want to keep your audience, you've really got to get into the subject of your video straight away. And for the love of God, don't, when you're starting a channel, don't put titles at the beginning of your video. Nobody's interested. You know, all this sort of Fred Blogs Presents stuff, you know, and a slow opening and a slow introduction. People will just click off that. And certainly until they know you. I guess the one exception is when you're well known and you've got a following of over 1,000 subscribers, something like that. If you wanted to do a skit on something, then you could do titles, but just forget the titles, get straight into the subject of your video. That's certainly what I tried to do at the start of this video. I introduced the subject and I've tried to get straight into the point of the video. And there's apps that can produce little branded introductions that I really forget all that when you're starting out, and really forget all of that anyway on YouTube. Your video will have a title. People have clicked on the video because of your title and your thumbnail, and so you need to, in the first 10 seconds, you need to tell them that that's what you're going to be talking about. And then once you've told them that's what you're going to be talking about, you need to talk about that. Don't go off on some other tangent. Don't go off on, oh, it's been a while since I've posted. Nobody's interested in that. Just get to the point of the video. I mean, it is one of the challenges of a walking video. I enjoy walking. I'm enjoying this walk today. Going out for a walk, being out in the countryside. We're in the middle of winter. It's not too cold today. I'm enjoying it, but communicating my enjoyment and communicating, you know, my pleasure on going on this walk, communicating that I'm glad I came out on this walk and why I'm glad I came out on this walk, that's quite tricky. So the number one skill you will have to develop, and the only way of developing it is doing it again and again and again and repeating it, is this. Talking to a camera is what I'm doing now. And the other thing that you need to do when you're talking to a camera to make it work is look straight into the lens. So let me just show you something now. This is what I can see, and I am looking here straight into the lens because that's how I connect with you. Now the temptation is, I can see myself here, the temptation is to look there at the image, at the screen of myself. But look what happens. It now looks like I'm ignoring you and talking to someone else. You have to talk into the lens like this. So that's tip number one. You look here, you don't look there. Whatever camera you've got, if it has a screen on showing you what you can see or what, you know, what the camera can see, don't look at the screen. That is just there. So when you're setting the shot up, you know what the composition is. But there's so many YouTubers, and some of them have been quite successful, but it's really irritating when they start doing this and looking at themselves, and you know that they're looking at themselves. Are they in love with themselves? You see how irritating it is? So look into the lens, don't look at the screen on the camera. And we've all had that thing where we hear a tape recording or we hear our voice on a video that, oh, I don't like. the sound of my voice, and we're a bit uncomfortable with it. That's quite normal, and that's because we hear it through the inside of our skull. We're getting an effect that people outside our skull are not getting. So your voice does sound a little bit different to other people than it does to you, and it sounds like what you can hear on video, and so you just have to get used to that. And here's the thing, if you've got friends, if you've got one friend even, they've listened to you and that's what you've sounded like to them all along, and that's what you look like, and they're still your friend. So just get over yourself, and that's what we're all seeing. When you look at us and talk to us, that is what you're seeing. I imagine myself to be still in my 20s, but when I look at the screen, that's what you're seeing, some grey-haired old men. So just have to get over that. That is what I look like, this is what I sound like. But it really is an acquired skill, and I'm speaking as someone who has done a lot of public speaking. I've been a sort of preacher and conference speaker most of my life, and certainly in Africa, you know, I was speaking to crowds of 2,000 to 5,000 people, and smaller groups as well sometimes, but large crowds. So I'm not intimidated by speaking, but I have to say, learning to speak to a camera is a very different skill than speaking to a live audience, because I kind of pick up on the crowd, on the live reaction, and that kind of sparks my next sentence and stuff. Well, when I'm sat here in this broom cupboard talking to a camera, I don't know what your reaction is, and so I just have to say what I'm going to say the best I can say it and see what happens later. It's a very different skill, but you are going to have to get used to talking to a camera. Now initially, and in a sense somewhat still today, when I'm walking outside with my camera on a stick, I try to do the talky bits where there's not so many other people, but it's actually quite nice for the video when you're doing a walk and talk video. It's quite nice when you walk past other people and they come into the shot as they walk past you. It brings a sort of reality, and actually nobody's really interested in what you're doing. Nobody gives a stuff, and lots of people talk to cameras as people have little headsets that you can't see walking around town. They look like they're talking to themselves. They haven't even got a camera, but you just know these days that, well, they've probably got a Bluetooth headset and they're on a call with someone. And sometimes you've got people with a phone chatting to the phone live, and you realise they're doing a FaceTime. So people are more attuned to the fact that some of us walk around, and a little action camera on a stick is less intrusive than a great big camera. So that's why I use a little camera too. And here's the thing, and I think everybody does it, it's very difficult not to do it when you're contemplating starting a YouTube channel. You're preparing to be ready, and you'll never be ready. You will never be ready. So just start. You just have to press record and start. If you want to practice and get more confident talking to the camera, this is going to feel awkward, but talking to the camera does feel awkward. What you can do is just, to save your embarrassment, just go into a room with your phone and set video with a forward-facing camera so you can see your face, and then talk about something. And talk about something as though you're telling a friend, as though you're on a call, or, you just imagine someone and you're telling them something. And keep doing that. And then not only that, the painful part is watch it back. Because when you come to edit it, you've got to get used to seeing and hearing yourself, and just get over yourself. So that would be the only preparation. But the best thing is just to start. If you watch my first video, I think there's a little drone test is number 1, but the one after that is just me and my daughter went for a walk up on the Norfolk coast. And it's all what we call B-roll. It's all just scenes. There's no talking. And I think I just say one sentence at the end. I think I just say, just here with the daughter walking on the Norfolk coast, and then that's the end of the video, because I just wasn't used to speaking to the camera. But I've come on a bit since then. Now I can't shut up. The other mistake that people make, and I made when I was starting out on YouTube, you start studying cameras. I mean, I suppose I needed to get up to date on what the latest cameras were, what might be suitable, but I'm going to save you a lot of trouble. So if you're doing a walking channel, one thing you need is stabilisation. So I film on the DJI Action 4. I think the latest one is the Action 5, but they're virtually the same camera, just the Action 5 does a couple of extra bits. And the reason I use a DJI action camera and not a GoPro or some other action camera is that DJI have solved the stability issue. As you can see, I'm walking and I could walk a bit quicker, and hopefully this image, this shot, is fairly stable. Now let's look at a similar shot on my phone. So I'm on exactly the same walk in the same area, but I'm just using my iPhone to walk along, and I think there might be a stability setting, and if there is, I think it's definitely switched on. But you know, it's I'd imagine this is shaking all over the flipping place. Very sort of disturbing for your viewers. So if you are going to spend some money for a walking camera, I would get the DJI Action. As I say, we're up to Action 5, but the Action 4 is great. I've not had it long, it's fantastic. And I'd get the vlogging combo and their little vlogging stick, although I think the vlogging combo comes with a stick. And also the vlogging combo includes one of their microphones, which attaches by Bluetooth to the camera. You don't need any cables or adapters or anything. So this, for me, is a perfect setup for video in a walk. If you're just doing a talking head video, which is what this is, just my head talking, that's mostly what's in the shot, I went for the Sony ZV-1. It was billed as a great vlogging camera of the future. It's no good for walks and talks. So yeah, Sony ZV-1 for static indoor shots on a tripod, and DJI Action camera with rock steady setting switched on, and you'll get nice stable shots. The reason I didn't go for a GoPro is I had a GoPro back in the day, and this has happened to everyone, and everyone I know that's got a GoPro, they just at certain points, for no reason, they just lose your file, you just lose your footage, it just becomes corrupted or disappears altogether. And if you think I'm spending several hours planning a walk, going on a walk, filming a walk, just for GoPro to screw it all up, you've got another thing coming. I had the original DJI Action 1, and I've only recently stopped using that, and it's fine. It's just the Action 4, you know, it doesn't need an adapter for the microphone. It just Bluetooths it straight in, so it's much more convenient, and there's a few additional extras. But even the Action 1 was better than any GoPro, in my opinion. As important as the video quality is, I would say your audio quality is as important. In fact, I would say your audio is more important than your video quality, because people will, if your image looks a bit rubbish, people will slightly overlook that if you're saying something interesting and they can hear you. So if the audio is good, people will put up with some rubbish video. But if you've got fantastic Hollywood video with rubbish audio that is muffled or crackling, or you've got wind noise on it, people will click off. They just won't. If it's too irritating, they'll just click off. So your audio is really important. And the way to start a YouTube channel is start a YouTube channel. Make your first video. And here's some bad news. Your first video, and possibly your first 10 or 20 or 30 videos, they're going to be rubbish. don't care who you are, they're almost certainly going to be rubbish. You, like anything else, like going to the gym, you want to build muscles, you got to go to the gym regularly. You got to build up to looking like Arnold Schwarzenegger or whatever. It doesn't just happen. You can't just do that on your first visit to the gym. And the same with camera skills and video skills and creativity. You've got to keep creating to get better at creating. And so don't worry, make the best video you can make. It's just when I look back now, I think one of the ones I thought was really good, I think it's quite an early one, is it 4 or 5 videos in, but it was Hazel and I went to the New Forest and did this long walk, and boy oh boy, I thought that was like a real Hollywood production. And I did impose it on a couple of people and show them on the laptop, made them sit through it. I think it's about 10 minutes long, so apologies for that. You won't get those 10 minutes of your life back. When I look back now, there's so many things I could have done better, but that's okay, it's part of the learning process. So you have to press record, you have to film your video, edit your video, do the best you can do, upload it to YouTube, stick it out there. You'd be surprised how few people watch it, but then you might get a few more hits than you were expecting. So I was not expecting the interest in my channel, I have to say, that it's had. But eventually, if you keep on, you'll get better. Hopefully you'll get better as you learn things. Try and learn one new thing during each video that you make and post. So get 1% better every time. And really, YouTube is not going to take any notice of your channel until you've published 40 videos. That's just what I've heard. They're not going to promote it or engage it very much. They're not really going to tune in because they need to know, the computer, the algorithm needs to know what your channel's about, and the only way it can do that is through the quantity of content. But don't just make videos for quantity, do a bit of quality as well. And don't overthink. If you're doing a walk video, film the walk. You know, where you're going, talk about where you're going, talk about things you see on the way. Just do the video. And the thing is, it's not live television. Just go and make the video that you want to make. And you're in charge of whether anyone sees it. You can bring the footage back, have a look, edit it, save it to your computer or your phone, and then you have a look at it and you decide whether to release that to the public. So there's no risk involved. There's not really too much risk even when you publish it, but there's no shame in just filming something and deciding that's not what you want to publish. But just get over yourself. Just publish the blinking thing and see what happens. And the other thing is comments and reactions give you tips on how to improve, so that's not a bad thing. Don't get analysis paralysis, because you can analyse over and over and over about, when I do the YouTube channel, this and that, and when I do it, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this with the camera, and I'm going to do that. Should I do this? Should I sort the audio out like this? When I go, where shall I put the camera? What should the weather be like? I mean, I have to say, as time's gone on, I'm easily put off these days if the weather's, I'm just looking out the window, you know, if the weather is a bit grey or wet or something, I'm a bit of a wimp these days. I think, oh, it's not good enough weather. But if you look at some of the video, I think my favourite video is a snowy walk to one house, I think it was. It was an absolute blizzard, and I'm so glad I took the camera, and I'm so glad we went on the walk. That's the first thing. But I'm so glad I videoed it and stuck it on YouTube, because I've got such great memories. We got absolutely soaked and absolute freezing, but it captured just a moment when me and my wife went for a walk in a blizzard, and we came home, our hands were blue with cold, and we put a fire on and warmed it, had a hot drink, changed our clothes into dry clothes. But when I look back at that sort of blizzard video now, my glasses getting covered with snow, I'm so glad I captured it. So just get out there, don't analyse things too much. So I want to chat a bit now about just the basics of making a video. There's some things that inexperienced people do that will just make your videos look complete crap, absolute rubbish, and even more amateur than we already are. And avoid these at all costs. So right now you can see I'm talking to the camera, but this side of me, of this side of the screen, there is an amazing view. And so the temptation is to start doing this. Oh, look at the view, look at the view, it's an amazing view. Look at this, and look at the view over there. And I call that hose piping, meaning that if you ever switch to hose pipe on full, when no one's holding the far end where the water comes out, you know, under enough pressure, the hose pipe will start whipping around and just spraying water everywhere, and it's absolute chaos. And people do that with the camera, and what they're trying to do is to give you the view, but you always need to film with the edit in mind. You're going to edit this. It's not one long piece of film. You know, we don't film like that. We film little clips and then put them together. So if on your walk you see some amazing scenery while you're talking to the camera, you could just do this. So you could say, well, this is how I would do it anyway. You could just say, oh, look at this amazing view. Now notice when I'm saying that, I'm looking out at the shot and you can't see the view. So then what I would do, I would stop this camera, or the other thing you can do, I'd just do it while you're watching. So as proof, I'm now going to get my phone, hold it as steady as I can, and I'm going to film the view. So I haven't hose piped the camera all over the place. You could use the same camera to do that. You could stop this shot and do a shot of the view and then come back to the shot, but you can just do it how I've done it as well. And then, so this is what it would look like. You stay on yourself, you stay on the main subject. Oh, just look at that view. What a breathtaking view. And as you can see, I am now in the edit. I'm putting in the view I took on my phone of the view. So you film that separately and then add it on later, and you just mute the sound, or I've muted the sound on the iPhone clip so it doesn't interrupt the sound on this channel. Keep your camera as steady as possible and don't be whizzing it all over the place. Okay, let's come to editing, and it's really important. You don't want to over edit it, I would say, but you do need to edit. You don't need to buy you don't need Adobe Premiere. You do not need Adobe Premiere to do YouTube. You're going to waste money. You don't need is it First Cut Pro, whatever the Mac alternative is. You just you don't need it. You don't need it. You can start, I think the first 50 videos, probably maybe more, were just I'm a Mac guy, so I used iMovie, and it does quite a lot more than you think it can. You can do green screen and all sorts of wonderful things, and you got some titles there. It's I moved on from iMovie because you're very limited with what you can do with titles and putting words on the screen in iMovie. You can do enough to get started, but I'm a bit obsessed with typefaces, fonts, and I'm a bit OCD about where on the screen things are, and there are some limitations in iMovie, but most normal people are not bothered about those things. And there's lots of successful channels, and I would say lots of money-making channels that clearly still using iMovie, and you can tell because they're using the iMovie title templates and lower thirds and all that stuff. So you can tell if they're using iMovie. So I use a thing called Filmora, Wondershare is the company that makes it, and I just paid for a one-off lifetime fee. I'm not subscribed to it. I think it was about 65 quid or something for a one-off, and you get all the updates. There's all extras you can get, but I don't bother with those. So edit it. Now here's the thing. I know you'll have thought you're Steven Spielberg and you've filmed some great shots and everything. Most of that's got to go in the bin. And I know some shots that you pulled off are like your precious little baby, and you just have to include them in your video. And we all do that in the early days. But to be a good editor, you have to ask the question for each clip: is this clip, is this bit of video adding anything to the story of the video? And if it's not adding anything, or it could be described as filler, you need to delete it. You have to delete it. People will click off if they think you're wasting their time. And apart from when you're walking and talking and saying something, your shot should be no more than 3 seconds. 3 seconds is quite a long time, you know, to do landscapes and bits of stuff. You're not filming, what was that film? Was it 1917? Where the director, it's just one shot. There's no edit. Now there are a couple of edits because I watched the behind the scenes, but there's only a couple of them, and they filmed it as a one long shot. Well, that is an achievement and it won awards, but you're not going to achieve that on your YouTube channel. You need to have different shots. And if you watch my walk and talk videos, you'll notice that when I'm talking, after each little bit that I say, I change the angle, and that also helps me edit the video and stops that sort of awkward jump cut that you get when you just cut a video without moving the camera. But it also changing the angle, changing the composition of the image, it just helps keep people interested. So you really need to learn editing and just practice. I was saying the other day that I think it's almost like an artist painting. Once you get really into it, I've done a couple of really complicated videos that are not yet out, and I did wonder the other day if someone asked me to explain how I've edited it like I've edited it. I'm not sure I could tell them because I just get in the flow and it becomes part of your creativity. But you do need to edit. You only see in one of my Walks and Wonders videos about 20 to 30% of what I filmed. Most of it is in the bin. So don't fill it out, don't make it boring, don't let your shots go on too long. And the best way of doing this is when you're watching TV or a film, every time the angle changes, begin to count 1 elephant, 2 elephant, 3 elephant, and see how long they let the shot go on for, and you'd be surprised how short it is, unless it's a dialogue. But even in dialogue, sometimes you only get 3-second shots. They keep changing to the different views of the person. But unless it's dialogue, the image on the screen is going to be, the angle is going to be changing every 2 to 3 seconds, unless you're slowing the pace down. That would be the other exception to that. What do you think? Maybe there's a lot of people got more experience than me, but I have created a YouTube walk and talk channel, so I thought I'd give you my thoughts. If you get any value out of this video, don't forget to hit the like button so I know you liked it. Hit that red subscribe button and that little bell icon so you'll get notifications of future videos, and I'll see you in the next video, wherever that may be.